Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? I'm hoping you can hear me real well out there. Good, good. You guys hear me and see me well. I want to welcome you. It is 8 o'clock, and we are here to talk today about some juicy stuff that a lot of people have been asking me about for years and years now. And today is the day where I'm going to share some things with you that even I, haven't shared with a lot of people, from interviews to personal family members to friends. There's going to be some things that I shared today that I haven't shared with a lot of people. So you guys are going to get in on some good, juicy stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few different little tips here about how to operate inside of this webinar. Okay. The webinar is open for me to chat only for the first few minutes. And then we're going to use the chat box to kind of communicate with each other. And if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little like quote symbol that looks like a chat box. That's where you're going to be able to say things, communicate with each other, and talk to each other. You can come in anonymously or not. It's strictly up to you. You can also raise your hand at any point and communicate with me via the chat box as well. And then you can also ask questions. If you look over at the Q&A, at the very end, we're going to open up for some live Q&A. And with this live Q&A, what that basically means is that you can ask questions and I will give you the answers. So don't be shy, don't hold back. And if you have other people that you had invited to the webinar, tell them it's time, text them, email them, call them, let them know we are on and we are ready to start talking right now, okay? So let's see, we got some attendees on. That is some good stuff. Let's see how many of you guys are on the webinar now that actually have anybody incarcerated. If you have someone incarcerated, I'd be very interested to know. Let's see here. I'm going to open up this chat box so I can see. Who can actually chat with me. All right, good. I can see you guys. So let's see here. Okay, Lisa, I see you. She said her son, Julie, her daughter. I hear you. Anybody else? Anybody else out there with incarcerated loved ones? Am I the only one that's out there, or is there anyone else on the line? Again, you don't necessarily have to say your name. You can inbox me. I just want to know kind of who's on the webinar with me. I see Zelda, your brother. Okay, and tell me where you guys are from too. Let me know where you're from. And whether or not you have known me as a person, if you followed me on social media, or if you were a fan of 60 Days In and that's where you met me. I want to know who we are. So Indrika, your cousin, okay. Anybody else on there? Julie, you're from California. All right, that's cool. West Coast in the house, and Mississippi. Ooh, she said it's the second highest for imprisonment. I know the South is, they don't call it the dirty South for no reason. I tell you that much. Elder Zelda Richard. Oh, Elder, how are you? From Changing a Generation in Greater St. Stephen in New Orleans. That's my home church in the house. Yes, a family member from Genoa. Good stuff. Michelle, she's a huge fan of 60 Days In from North Carolina. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so how many of you guys, you just need some help right now? You need some help kind of understanding where you are in this walk with your loved one. Raise your hand, let me know, put it in the chat box, let me know that what you're thinking about. Yes, you need support, good stuff. Good stuff. Let me know kind of what you're thinking about too, as far as the type of support that you're needing. We're just doing a little warm up right now to give some people some time to get on. Just a few more minutes here. We're going to just talk a little bit about several things that I told you and promised you on this webinar. I'm going to do some bold promising here to you, and you just have to stick around because there's some good stuff coming. You'll be surprised at what's coming. If you stick around to the very end, we'll probably be around for about an hour. It may sound like a lot of time, but once we get to talking and I get to talking, you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to go pretty doggone fast. And we'll have lots of Q&A towards the end. So I want you guys to really, really, really stay focused with me here on this and kind of really listen to some of the things I'm going to tell you, because they are very important. They're very important. And pardon my big, gigantic glasses, but you know how it is when you cannot see up close. But hey, it's what happens when you become a few years older than, 22, 23 years old. That's how it works. Anyway, all right, so let's move on. Let's go forward here. I want to welcome all of you again. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. And I want to make you a few promises today. I want you to know that when this is finished and you're done watching this webinar, you're going to gain clarity, which is going to bring about confidence, and it's going to lead you to courage. And it's going to help you make big moves in your life. And it's not just for yourself. You'll definitely be able to do it for others. And you're going to hear today about some of the inside scoop on why I chose to go to jail. A lot of people are saying, Mona, what in God's green earth would cause you to want to go to jail? And I've been asked that question. And quite frankly, I've not really been able to give the true answers, because I'm usually in very, very quick interviews, or very just quick on the air radio, television interviews. And I really haven't had a chance to tell that story. Tonight, you're going to learn details about my time in jail, that as I participated in the show 60 Days In. No, I am not a criminal, for those of you who are already starting to judge. I did not do anything wrong. I went in undercover. So we're going to talk about that. And so many people have started asking me about booking me to speak, because as much as I fought this thing and as much as I said I don't want to do this thing, I guess the time has come. The time has come. And for the last 6 months to a year, I've actually been out there just sort of hitting the streets. So I'll share more about that later. And then I want to leave time to for you guys to ask me questions. To ask me questions that have been burning in your soul about your own personal incarceration stories, your own personal family members who are incarcerated, your own life story. If it is you suffering because you have a loved one incarcerated, God forbid if it's your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your uncle, what if it's your child, whoever it is. If you have some questions and you need some help, I need you to stick around to the end, okay? Because we've got some things we're going to talk about. And certainly not last, but not least, shall I say. At the end of this webinar, you're going to walk away with a free gift from me. I'm going to give you a free gift, so don't move, because you know I'm not going to give you that up front, because why give the juice out like that, right? You got to wait for it. Wait for it. Boom! It's going to be in your face. Just hold on just a minute. It'll be there. It'll be there. So, who am I? I'm Monalisa Johnson. I'm a mother. I'm a mother of a daughter. She's 24 years old. And her name is Sierra. I have one daughter. I'm divorced. I'm an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur of a full-service audio video production company. And I'm also a owner of a foundation called Parents with Incarcerated Children. I am a TV personality, as a lot of you guys know, from being on 60 Days In. I'm also an author. I wrote a book that we'll be talking about here shortly. And I'm a public speaker who speaks on mindset shifting and restorative justice. And we'll get into that in just a little bit more later. I just want you to know that I am a human being. I'm a mother. I'm a person who doesn't just, show up just to show up. I show up with a heart of compassion. I'm a woman of integrity. I believe that everything that comes out of my mouth is authentic and transparent. And I believe that I'm a woman of change. So that's who I am. That's who I am. And I'm also a woman who walks around with a great deal of pain inside. Pain from a story that a lot of you don't know. A lot of you don't have a clue about. I know you're asking yourself, why is she doing this webinar? Why did she do 60 Days In? Well, back in 2012, I got a call. And this call just about knocked me off my feet. This call took me to the bottom of the barrel, must I say, okay? It took me into an emotional space that I can't even begin to express to you. It was a call from my daughter, my one and only child, who was 18 years old. She was in college at the time. She had graduated out of high school at the age of 16. And I sent her into college. Right at the age of 16, she was in gifted programs. And this call I got while I was working on the set in Hollywood, filming what I thought was one of the best opportunities I've ever had in my life. I'm thinking, I'm at the pinnacle of my career. I'm working with A-list celebrities. I'm doing something I've never done before. And then I get this call. My daughter's on the other line and she's sobbing and she's crying and she's saying, Mom, I am in so much trouble. I can't begin to tell you, Mom, I need your help. I need you to just stop what you're doing. I need you to just really listen to me. And I'm in jail. And I said, wait, you're in jail? I just didn't even know what to do with myself. All I could say was, this cannot be happening to me. And please say this is some sort of joke. Well, unfortunately, it was not a joke. My daughter had been doing what I call the college thing, which gets kids so caught up, it's just not funny. And that is, they get in that party scene and they get on those drugs. And before you know it, those drugs get them so addicted to the point where they start to do things that they would never do in their normal character. And as much as I hate to sit here and admit this, it is time for me to tell what my daughter did. She committed armed robbery along with two other co-defendants. She didn't just rob one person. There were multiple robberies that occurred that evening. It was a spree of two other people. She was driving and she was under the influence of a drug called Molly. And after she got sentenced with 10 years mandatory minimum serving in Georgia, my entire life did a 180-degree turn. And I began to experience an unrecognizable life that was filled with so much pain, so much hurt, and so much disdain. I had no idea what to do with myself. I experienced emotional difficulties, financial difficulties, mental stresses that I can't even begin to share with you, the breakdowns that were occurring with me mentally. I had no idea where to turn. So I created an organization. And in this creation of this organization, I did it because I felt like I have nowhere to turn. I don't know where to get help for, not just for my daughter, but for myself. I was going through such a state of depression. I felt so alone. I felt so by myself and so locked in. Even though I was walking in the free world, I still felt like I was incarcerated, even in my own world, because I felt guilty for living. I felt guilty for eating. I felt guilty for what I did as a parent or didn't do as a parent. I just constantly sat around feeling shameful because of what the public and their society's stigma and what they thought about incarceration. And for the record, I was absolutely one of those people that at all turns would be judgmental. Before my daughter went into prison, I was definitely one of those people that would turn a deaf ear and just absolutely act like I didn't want to have anything to do with any of that until it hit my home. And then my eyes became awakened. And so I started this organization, Parents with Incarcerated Children. And in starting this organization, I created a resource guide, an online resource guide, and I created an ebook that I was able to start to try to share with people that a lot of people still don't know about. And that's why, stick around, because you're going to be getting a copy of it here shortly. I created this, and I just decided to do all of this because I needed to share with people some of the secrets and some of the things that I uncovered. And while I was doing all of that, A&E found me. A&E started to do a search online, and I guess they were looking for people who had experienced in some way, shape, or form incarceration in their families. And so A&E pitched me. A&E came to me and said, hey, we saw you online. We see that you're doing a lot of work in this area. And we're interested in finding out if you'd like to go to prison or to go to jail. And for the record, there is a difference between jail and prison. Jail is where people go for short term, and they may be in there for 2 years or less and may serve time for, misdemeanors, felonies, all kinds of things. But prison, on the other hand, is for felonies and for long-term stays. So, they asked me, did I want to go to jail? And I'm thinking prison because I didn't know the difference. And all I could say is, are you kidding me? The answer is absolutely no. They actually asked me to go for 6 months. Yeah, right. 6 months. I would like to see a show of hands of how many people would actually go to jail for 6 months. Let me see you raise your hand. In raising your hand, all you got to do is hit the button. I see you. I see you. Alicia. Oh, okay. You would. Lisa. Okay. Well, I was not going for 6 months. Okay. That was an absolute no. How would I ever run my business? How would I continue to function in life? What would I do? No. The answer was no. So they kept on and they kept on and they kept on and they kept talking to me. Then it went down to, we need to do 4 months because there's no way that we could ever put anybody in jail and be able to really do the research and find out how a human is affected when they go in and they're treated just like any other inmate. When we went in, we were never, ever, ever told to tell anybody before we went in. When we went in, the only people that knew was the sheriff and the captain. None of the staff knew, none of the inmates knew, and nobody knew. So we're thinking 4 months? No, they still couldn't find anybody. So then they come down to 60 days, and that's when I said yes. Now, my daughter kept saying the entire time, are you out of your mind, Mom? No, you would never want to do something like this. This is serious, Mom. This is like a nightmare. You don't want to be here. Why would somebody with a heart like yours want to come into a place like this? You're not going to make it. You're going to have a hard time, and you're just not going to do well. And I kept saying, Sierra, I need to go. I need to understand what is going on. I need to experience what you're experiencing because I can't understand the things that you're telling me. I can't imagine that what you're telling me is real with all of these problems you're experiencing. From the guards being completely disrespectful, to the food being awful, to the medical facility being completely ratchet and completely out of control. I said, there's no way. She said, you know what? I'm going to keep talking to you until I talk you out of this. And she just couldn't talk me out of it. And so finally one day she decided, Mom, I'm going to let you do this. I'm going to let you do it because I have to be in support of you. Otherwise I'll go crazy in here knowing I can't talk to you or be near you or anything for 60 days because I was treated just like any other inmate. Now I know I didn't look like this. I know I didn't look like this because I know you guys have seen my mugshot and I know they picked the ugliest shot they could find. It's like, come on. Does it really have to be that ugly shot? But I guess, hey, when you go in, you got to look rough. They told me not to do anything with my hair, not to color any of my hair. And yeah, I'm naturally burgundy. But yeah, they told me to do nothing. They told me to do absolutely nothing. And so when I went in, I looked a hot mess, an absolute mess. They said that basically what they wanted to do is have me come in and absolutely let nobody know that I was undercover. So when I got booked in, the question that they asked you when you come in is, would you like to be a part of a first timer documentary series? And if you say yes, you will sign a paper that will put you in maybe 2 to 4 dorms that will have 24-hour surveillance, 300 plus cameras in each one of the pods. And if you say yes, you have to recognize and realize that you will be on camera 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you have the choice to say no. If you say no, then you go to a regular pod without any cameras. That's how they got us in. That's how they made sense of getting somebody past the entire, idea of paperwork and this and that. And from what I understand, they had to do a lot of back end paperwork to make it kind of make sense past all of the employees. And so, boom, we're in. The next thing I know, we're in. And while we're in, people are saying on a constant basis, they're asking that question. When you were in there, how did it feel the first 3 days, the first 3 days? Well, in the first 3 days, we go into this thing called classification. After you're booked in, then you go to a place called classification, and classification basically holds you there for 24 to 72 hours until they can decide what level of crime you have committed and what level of person you are to determine whether or not you go into low, medium, or high security. And once they determine that, then they put you into the appropriate pod so that you will be able to react accordingly to those whom are around you. Well, what did they do with me? They put me in maximum security. That's interesting, right? Maximum security is what they put me in. And in the maximum security, I will say that it was not easy by any stretch of the imagination, because the minute we get there, the first thing that we found out is that, you know, we really were true inmates. There was absolutely no special treatment. We didn't get anything different that anyone else got. This was as real as it could possibly be. There was nothing fake about it. Nothing. Nothing. I got to take a breather on that because I'm having flashbacks. My God Almighty. All I can say is good gracious, good gracious, good gracious. Whoo, good gracious, good gracious, good gracious. I want to share a picture with you real quick that I was in there. Just one second here. I'm pulling it up. And let's see here. I hope you see it, or you see me at least. Give me just one second. This is kind of new for me. Yes, you were going to get your clarity, your confidence, your courage. This is what it looked like. You see my mugshot there. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see me. We're going to figure this out here in a second. That's me over there to the left. Okay, you can see it good. That's me on the right. That's when I first got in. They were basically giving me a mat. That was this mat that I slept on every single night. So you can see it wasn't really worth anything talking about. It probably was about 1.5 inches thick. And they gave us these green jumpsuits, and that's all they gave us was green jumpsuits. That's it. And you had to buy everything else. You had to buy your underwear, your bras, your shirts, your shoes. They gave you some little slip-on shoes, and that's about it. Everything else you had to buy. Well, they gave you a toothbrush, toothpaste, and some deodorant. So let me not say that's it. So while I was in there, you know, all I could think about is, my God, I'm so glad I wrote this book before I went in, because I started thinking about how I could expand this book and how I could begin to share more tips about how to understand what your loved one was going through. And as I started to put this out, I started to realize that this book just was not going to be enough, because when I shared it with a lot of people, I started getting inundated with requests to meet one-on-one and to share my secrets to overcoming all that I did. Because after going into jail and coming out of jail, there was so much more to my journey that needed to be shared, and so much more that I had now that I understood that needed to take place, that I wanted to share. So what I did was I went one step further, and I started to create what I call mind shift sessions. Okay. And in these mind shift sessions, I started designing things that people would start to walk away with, keys that they would begin to take away and learn and experience in their life. I decided I would create a private group. It's called Mind Shift Sessions with Monalisa, where say 20 to 40 people, you know, can come together with intimate time with me. And they would walk away with things like overcoming guilt and shame of having a loved one who's incarcerated, building up their courage and becoming stronger versions of themselves, finding the love for themselves again. Because let's face it, when you're in this situation, you have no idea how to help someone, let alone help yourself. It's just a difficult life to live. So today, I want to offer you that exact same thing. I want to offer you the same thing. I want you to realize that today there is going to be, at the end, and we'll talk about it now and at the end again, an offer I'd like to make you. I'd like to allow you to come in on a private group session with me. 20 people to 40 people at the max. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I want that one-on-one time to get to you so that I can start sharing some of those things that I shared with some of the other groups and I've learned on my own, about the fact that I may have done some things wrong as a parent. I may have done some things right as a parent. But the reality is that I had to learn how to overcome the guilt and shame in order to be able to stand here and even have this conversation with you today. Or this group session, Mind Shift with Monalisa, is going to take you from being a prisoner of doom to a prisoner of hope. And it's going to help you to know when to tell your story and to whom to tell your story. Again, this is sessions with me, private sessions, 20 to 30 people, maybe 40 at the max. And you'll have one-on-one opportunities. This will be all done on video in what we call a Zoom group where we can see each other, talk to each other. So you don't have to pay for travel. You don't have to do anything like that. You'll have that one-on-one time with me where you're able to ask any question about my personal story, about your personal story, about mass incarceration as a whole. And it's just going to be a no holds barred session. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, oh, she can't be doing that for free. And guess what? You're right. This may be free. This webinar is free. And the gift that I'm giving you is free. But the reality is that there's been so many people that are reaching out to me that in order for me to make this work for you and really make it a good value for you, for $97, I think that's an excellent seed to sow into yourself. You can be a part of this session. Now, I paid for thousands of dollars for mental therapy and psychological help and emotional support. And I went through all kinds of different programs and things like that where I put out not only bartered time, trade time, and all kinds of other time, but I spent thousands of dollars and I'm only offering you this for $97. And all you have to do, if you're interested in doing this, let me share the screen with you again. All you have to do, let's see here, let's get to it, is go to bit.ly/shiftmymind to register. bit.ly/shiftmymind to register. It's the first 20 people for $97. So overcome the guilt and shame. Learn how to walk away, to build your courage and become stronger and be a better version of yourself. The same way that I'm standing here talking to you today and sharing so many other thoughts with you, which I do have. Don't go away. Got some more things to share with you. I think you should really want to invest in yourself. It's the time that we need to come together in intimate groups and really grow. Okay? All right. So let me tell you the next story that I have about me being in on 60 Days In. As I shared with you in the beginning, I was going to help you understand more reasons about why we should care about mass incarceration, right? So people are always saying, if it's not hitting my family, if it's not bothering my house, why should I care? Why should I even care about mass incarceration? Well, here's the reason why, because it is a human rights issue. Rights are being violated on a day-to-day basis. Not only is it a human rights issue, but it is a financial issue. It is a financial issue that is affecting all of us financially. We are paying for it one way or the other. Even if you know no one who's in prison, you can bet your bottom dollar you're paying for it through your tax dollars. If you know someone who is in prison, you are still paying for it because we have to pay for commissary. We have to pay for phone calls. We have to pay for visitations, which cost a fortune because most of the visitations are so far away, it's not funny. While I was in jail, there was this one young lady that I'll never forget. And she was the reason why I felt deep down in my soul that I had to go out and talk about this. She was a heroin addict and she had been in and out of jail for quite some time. She had been, how can I explain it? She had been, let me show it to you. How about that? Let me just show it to you. All right. Let me see if this is it. Can you see it? Are you able to see her? Let me see here. You guys seeing her? I want to show you her just a moment. Yes, you should see her. There she is right there. Okay, let me tell you about her. She had been on heroin since she was 6 years old. Her family prostituted her from the age of 6 all the way until she had gone to jail for her first time at the age of 14. And because she had gotten so addicted to heroin, she was in and out of jail. She was selling, she was using, she was getting busted on a continuous basis. And every time she came to jail, and especially while we were in jail together, she never got the help that she needed. She never got any drug rehab. She never got any mental counseling. She never got any of the above. And in my opinion, all I could think of is, why would we say what we always are guilty of saying? And that is, why don't you just get off of drugs? All it takes is just somebody making up their mind to just get off of drugs. It's not that serious. It's not that difficult. All you have to do is just decide to do it, and it's done. It's not that easy. I learned while being in there, while being a participant in that show on 60 Days In, not only did I see drug addicts, I saw heroin for the first time in my life. I saw heroin being administered and used for the first time in my life while I was in jail. Explain that. How did that happen? How did it even get into the prison is the question, or the jail, excuse me. How did it get in? As time went on, you know, many things were uncovered. And what I'm talking about is no secret. It was all over the news. It was all in the newspapers that Clark County, Indiana started to fire some of their personnel, and they were fired for multiple reasons. Some of them in the health department were actually writing prescriptions in inmates' names. And because they were writing prescriptions in inmates' names, they were able to get the drugs. And who knows if they were using them themselves or if they were giving them to the inmates. But what was happening is there was always that one inmate or two or three or four or 10, I don't know. All I knew of is two, that while I was in there, that was the ones that would basically, get the drugs and pass them around. And I'm sorry, but somebody had to pay for these drugs somehow. And you can't pay. Only a honey bun can go so far. A honey bun can only go so far. That's only $2, people. Somehow, some way, the outside world was coming in to this scenario somehow, some way. I'm in jail. Why am I seeing heroin in jail? And I have never told that story. Do you know why I've never told that story? Because that requires so much accountability. But you know what? Soon, this will be out all over the internet. And soon, everyone will know that in Clark County, Indiana, at one point in time while I was there, and first season, from what I understand as well, while they were in, there was an enormous drug problem there. Now, to my understanding, since I've left there, everything is everything. Everything is good. And they have cleaned that jail up tremendously, from what I understand. But what that made me feel was that not only was it good that they started to clean this jail up, it was even better that it made me start to think in a way that I have never thought before. Before I went in, I was the most judgmental person anybody could call themselves to be, and I am a Christian. And I know lots of Christians who were right along with me, who were equally as judgmental, saying if they committed a crime, I don't want to be with them. I don't want to be near them. I don't want to be anywhere around them. As a matter of fact, when my daughter would bring somebody home and then say, hey, mom, her dad just got out of prison, the first thing I would say is, oh, you could no longer be around them. But after being in there, after experiencing my daughter going to prison, I started to think about a different mindset. My mind started to shift, not just for her, but for all of mankind, all of those people who are in there. They deserve to have what I call restorative thought processes, meaning that we as society need to begin to move away from punitive thought processes and go into what I call restorative thought processes, restoring them back to a new start. Because you know what? The difference between them, between you, me, and the people who are in jail, it could possibly be that maybe we just didn't get caught. I mean, let's face it. If you knew the things that I did when I was a kid, if I knew the things that you did when you were a kid, huh, girl, if I could have just been a fly on the wall, man, if I could have been in your back seat, in your trunk, at that party, under that bed, in that closet, something to think about, huh? So, restorative thinking. I started really feeling a yearning, a pulling, a tugging inside of my soul saying that I have got to do something about this. I have to say something about this. It is just burning inside of me. It's burning to the point where I've got to say what it is right, because you can't go wrong by doing what's right. So I feel like at this point in time that it is a new calling. It is a new mandatory minimum that's been put on my life, that now I have to hit the streets. I have been hitting the streets. I have to hit the pulpits. I have to hit the boardrooms, the conferences, the communities, and I have to share the message that society must find a mindset shift and learn to care about mass incarceration. It is a human rights issue, just like I said. It's a financial issue. And more importantly, it's a family issue. It is tearing families apart. It is beating us down to the ground. It is making us lose our souls, lose our minds, lose our kids, lose our brothers. We are losing to the system. And until we come together and we get this thing right, it starts first in our mind, people. It starts in our mind. And together we have to have a mindset shift. We have to be the ones, especially the church, especially those who call themselves believer of God, of the higher power, of the universal being, whatever your God is, whether it be Jesus Christ, Buddha, Allah, whoever your God is, we all are humans. We all have that feeling that what is right and what is wrong is wrong. Prison has become a business. It has become a multi-billion-dollar business. It is 11 million to $1 billion business. How is that possible that human lives are being treated like animals and we are being told to come back into society and be normal? And be normal. So I need your help. I need your help. What I need your help on doing is I need your help getting me booked. I'm sorry. When I go to sharing this screen, I absolutely have no idea what I'm doing here. But let me do this. And give me a second here. Whoop, going the wrong way. Just a second here. I'm getting there. And I'm there. Jesus, Lord have mercy. When you do all this technical stuff in the beginning, I got to be honest with you, it's very difficult. It is not easy at all. Okay? Not easy at all. Can you guys see it? Do you see the book Monalisa page? I hope that we see it there. Let me know if you see it in there. Good, we see it. Good. What I need is I need your help. And I need your help in identifying speaking opportunities. I need your help in sharing my page, bookmonalisa.com. I need your help in inviting me to your churches. I really don't care what type of church it is. People are people. Everybody from all nationalities, all walks of life, all churches, all denominations, they are going to prisons in droves. Corporate meetings. There are social responsibility departments that are out there right now that are in desperate and dire need to do social justice, and they are wanting a mouthpiece that will help to formulate the picture and show what it is that we're suffering from. Retreats. There's all kinds of retreats out there. I'm always interested in coming to the islands, man, and being able to share. And seriously, if Steve Harvey can invite me to his place, can you? I'm just wondering. Can you help a sister out? That's all I need. I need you to start sharing this video. I need you to share the fact that mass incarceration matters. I need you to talk about this and not make this such a taboo subject anymore. I need for us all to come together to stand strong and to carry out the message that Martin Luther King carried out, that many others carried out, Mahatma Gandhi, that all of these people carried out when they said, freedom must ring. It has become a modern day slavery. There are more Blacks incarcerated, and now more women are being incarcerated at alarming rates. And until we do something about it and stand together to do something about it, you can bet your bottom dollar it will only get worse. And do you know who it's going to affect in the end? It will affect you, 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 and me. It's not just my problem, it's our problem. As a society, it is our problem. Okay? It's our problem. So let me go back to a few more stories because I feel like I'm on my soapbox. And I don't want to be on my soapbox. I want to tell you more about some stuff that we experienced while I was on 60 Days In. Let me tell you about something that was very interesting, to say the least. Let me see. Getting back to another slide I want to show you. Let's see here. Okay. This one's funny. I think we'll laugh on this one. I'm going to share my screen and tell me if you guys see it. You should see me with my beautiful cornrows eating. Do you guys see me? I just want to know because, you know, half the time I can't figure out what I'm doing on this thing. Okay, good. You guys see me. Good, good, good. Now I can tell the story. So here's the story. When you go to jail, who gains 15 pounds in 60 days? That was me. Not because I ate everything on my plate, because I hardly ever did. There was nothing really worth eating. It was like eating like a 5-year-old. There was nothing in there. The food was so processed, so full of sodium, and so not real. I mean, we would taste things that they called chicken that I honestly could never tell you what it was. And then wonder why, when we came out of there, that we had cavities, that we had high blood pressure, that we have diabetes, that we have, you know, cholesterol, all kinds of problems. And then we say, oh, well, it doesn't matter really, because, you know, as long as they get 3 square meals a day, you know, that's not my problem. They should have never committed the crime. And you know what? I don't condone crime. I can relate to that. I can agree that as long as you get 3 square meals a day, that's cool. Key word is square. You know, they have an actual list of food that the Department of Correction puts out. But unfortunately, because they put this out, it's never shared. It's never done right. It's never followed right by the kitchens. The prisons start looking at their their cost per inmate, and they realize that there's just no possible way that they can stay within the boundaries of what the Department of Correction is creating. So they cut things back. So in this jail, each meal was $1.95 per person. $1.95 per person. So what do you think we were eating? Yeah, it was gross. That's just to say the least. It was gross. Okay. Oh, gross to say the least. Now, as far as where we slept, this is where we slept. Do you see this bed here? That's Cherie. She was in with me. And to the left is Ashley. She was in with me as well. These beds, if you could see, they're metal beds. And the mattresses were probably about 2 inches to 3 inches thick. And I just don't know, but a woman of my age and size, one, I should have got a mattress that was plus size. Okay, can we talk? And two, when you're over 40, it should just automatically be that you get that, what we call the senior citizen mattress, which is 6 inches or more. That was just not right, no matter how you look at it. It wasn't right. When I left out of there, I was in such bad back pain that I literally had to go to a chiropractor for 6 weeks in order to be able to stand up straight. But here's the question. What about those people who get out who have no ability whatsoever to go anywhere with no insurance, no buddy to talk to, and they leave out of there as sick as they came in? What do you think they're going to do? Where do you think they're going to go? Who's going to help them? Big difference, big story. Big difference, big story. Oh, I think I did something wrong. So, hold on one second here. I'm going to pull it back up again because I have one more thing to show you here. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm doing something wrong here. My apologies. There it is. Okay, can you guys see the inside of the pod? Can you see it? Yes, good. You saw my cornrows too. Okay, good. I kind of think I did good with the hair while I was in there. I mean, let's face it, they didn't have any hair care products for those who are other than Caucasian. So you just really had to do whatever you could do for your hair. And that was it. This is the entire pod. This is it from top to bottom. If you look at it very closely, you can see this is where we have our meals at. Upstairs were 1, 2, 3 cells with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 beds in each cell. Now this was called an open dorm or an open pod, if you will. Okay. And this is where we slept at. And they always said that I stayed in my room and I didn't come out very often. Well, if you lived in something like this, would you? I mean, come on now, there's nowhere to sit. It's not comfortable. It's just like a total joke. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. Not cool at all. So once you leave out of the facility, that was the next thing. When we left out of the facility, there was nothing done. They brought me up to what they call booking. They booked me out. They lost my clothes, for the record, that I came in there with. They lost my clothes. So they gave me someone else's jacket, someone else's pants, and my own shirt. So they had my shirt and my bra, but they didn't have the rest of my clothes. They lost them all. So they gave me what I needed to give me. They opened up the door and they said goodbye. That was it. There was no exit interview. There was no one there to talk to me about, is there anybody to pick me up? There was nobody to say, you know, do you have a place to go live? Do you have food? Do you have money? Do you have anything? And they kept my check because they didn't have it processed in time. So they had a check for $23 for me that they didn't even give me. I'm still feeling some kind of way about that. You know that? I really am. Because what are we expecting these people to do when they come out? You are just left to be alone. Let's imagine if you were in there for 6 months. How many of you guys would still have a job after 6 months? Maybe you had a job when you went in, but after 6 months, you think you're going to have that same job when you come out? What if there was no one supporting you while you were in there and they open those doors and they say, goodbye, you're done, your time is served, welcome back to society? What do we expect people to do when they don't have anywhere to turn to be housed? They have nowhere to get a job. They don't have any money to get any food. If that were you, what would you do? How would you live? What is it? What would you do? How would you live? Julie said her daughter has lost 40 pounds. Well, my daughter did the same thing when she first went in. She lost a tremendous amount of weight because the stress was unbelievable. Okay. And I just don't do well with carbs, and I certainly don't do well with sodium. I don't do well with all that stuff. So for me, I went from eating all organic foods and stuff like that. And okay. Julie said that she lets the girls, that somebody, well, let me read this. We let the girls that are getting out to use our phone if they need to call someone when we are waiting for a visit. I mean, I get that. I get that. In some cases, at some jails, you know, they work it out. But this gel absolutely didn't. It just churns you out right on the street. And like I said, I gained a lot of weight because I went from eating salads and turkey and chicken breast and stuff like that to eating uh, just food that was just disgusting. I can't even tell you the name of half of that stuff. It was just gross. It had no name to most of it. We used to just call it slop because that's what it was, slop. When they come out, what are they expected to do? So I'm looking here and I'm seeing that there are many people here. Your son, Lisa, lost 35 pounds and looked like he's a walking dead, very pale, no color. I know the feeling. I mean, while I was in there, they told you and they told people on the television show that they let us out weekly for recreation, and that was an absolute fabrication. We went out one time for recreation, and it was not outside, it was in a gym. We never saw the day of light for 60 straight days. There was never a day we got to leave and go anywhere near the sun, outdoors for any reason. And we almost always had to wait for their nasty toilets and their backed up sewer systems to be properly fixed. As a matter of fact, when they had what they call the sewer gate, where all the sewers backed up into the place, it was nothing nice. I can tell you that it was nothing nice. I mean, imagine sleeping, eating, and swimming in raw sewage. Yeah, we were like that for days before they finally moved us out, did something about it, did a brief cleaning, and brought us back in. Here's the other thing that I'm going to tell you about. I left out of there with a staph infection that took me 5.5 months to get rid of. I had a staph infection on my leg, and then it traveled to my arm. And I was in the emergency room 3 or 4 times over that, trying to get this thing to leave my body. Now I'm good and I'm all set now. But once again, am I grateful that I had health insurance? What about the others who leave there who have nothing? Something has to be done. The system must change. It should be a system of rehabilitation, not a system of punitive punishment. That's it, just punishment. We treat you like an animal. We house you like an animal, but we turn you back out and see now, and turn you back out and say, now be human. It's not going to work. So I feel for all of my people who are on this group right now, who have loved ones incarcerated. And I want you to know that there is, again, that opportunity that I'm offering you to get into this mind shift session with me, because not the way I have become so courageous, I want you to become that way. I want you to become a prisoner of hope, a person who's got so much hope that the system will change, so much courage that they'll stand before whomever and whatever and say what must be said in order for things to change. I want you to find yourself again. So many of us are lost. So many of us don't have any idea who we are anymore. I used to feel guilty just for eating a good meal. That's how I lost the majority of my weight. I bet you guys are going, by God, you don't even look the same anymore. I've lost, like, since I got out, almost 70 pounds. Do you know why? Because I felt so guilty for eating good meals, but I got past that. I learned that if I don't take care of me first and make me stronger and build me, I'll be no good for my daughter. And I want to teach you that. 20 slots for $97. 20 slots for $97. Now, there may be 40 that will open up, but for sure 20 for $97. This is a value of actually $597. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of all of the training that I have put myself in to get what I need to begin to share with you guys. It's cheaper than going to a psychologist. It's more private than going to a psychologist. It is a group of people who will be in the same scenario as you. Become a prisoner of hope. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you want to be a part of this, all you have to do is go to, give me a second, and I'll share it on your screen. I'm so sad, I tell you, I'm so sad. This is very interesting, to say the least. Okay, now there it is. All right. You go to bit.ly/shift my mind to register. bit.ly/shiftmymind to register. $97, and you can learn to overcome the guilt and shame of having a loved one incarcerated. You can know who to tell your story to and when. I'm going to teach you that, because you must know that everybody is not going to be okay with this story. And there are going to be some people that you would never expect to support you. But you got to know when to tell this story, and you got to know whom to tell this story to. You have to know. You have to know. So I'm inviting you guys to get into this interactive session. This interactive session is with me personally. It will be where we can see each other, where we can interact. You don't have to spend money to travel or any of the above. Any of the above. Now, you can't ask for anything more than that. Nothing more than that. We will have each other. We will build each other. We will get stronger, and you can learn from my mistakes. Why go out and continuously live a life of pain when you can find your purpose in your pain the same way I did? And not to mention the fact I need to train up some warriors. Where are my warriors? I am calling on the church right now to stand up and to be the warrior. There is a sleeping army. I know it's a sleeping army out there. God is saying, awaken and come out of your slumber and become the voice. Stand with me. Open your pulpits. Allow me to come to talk to your congregations. Allow me to stand at your conferences and share with the people about why we should care about mass incarceration, about how that it has become an $11 billion business, about how the collateral damages that are occurring are causing our families to be broken, not to be built again. How America is great again? How is that? When was it ever great? That's the question. We together have to come together to begin to start a war. This war is on what is right. What is right is that we have to stand together, and we have to begin to care about mass incarceration and those that are forgotten, the families, and those who are in there. We have to begin to be restorative thinkers and not just punitive thinkers. We can't just put punishment on people. We have to put a restorative thought process in place so that all of mankind can get the same opportunity that some of us who have never gotten caught get, and that's another chance. If you could just look into your heart and find that spirit of love that lies deep inside of you and deep within you, you'll realize that you cannot go wrong by doing what's right. There are a slew of people out there who are re-entering the system over and over and over again because we as a society have cast them away, have thrown them into the darkness and said, we will not deal with these people. These people are the downtrodden. They're the trash of society. They deserve to be there. Well, I have news for you. There are 3 people that are in prison. There are the guilty, the total criminals, those who have done wrong, will always do wrong, and will never change. There is a place for those people, and it is the prison. But then you have those people who have done wrong, like you, like I, but have gotten caught. And they are learning from their mistakes. They are actually rehabilitating themselves, and it's not happening through the system in most places. It is not happening through the system in most places, but maybe their families are helping them. Maybe they have decided to go to college again while they're incarcerated to rebuild themselves, and they learn from their mistakes. That's the second person. Then you have that third person, a person who has literally done nothing and is in there innocent. That exists, you know. But is anything being done about that? No. All we do is we see media stories down the line that basically uncover the fact that these people are in there and finally get out because they've served 20 years and they were found to be innocent. That has to stop. There has to be more put in place on the front end that requires that more proof is found and that more laws and more policies are written. So there are 3 people. There are the truly guilty, there are those who learn from their mistakes and live right, and there are the innocent. We need to understand this. We need to begin to share this. We need to learn what are the ways to be able to determine if your loved one, while they're in are going to be the type of person that will change? Or are they going to be the kind of person that will always be a criminal? I can teach you these mindsets. I can show you how to uncover and determine whether or not this is that type of person or not, so that you know how to begin to give that person and your loved one the help that they need. $97, people. $97. 20 slots for $97, where you will become a part of my mind shift session. Monalisa's mind shift session. That's all that's got to happen, is a mind shift. And for the rest of you that are on here, that are just here because you just wanted to be, and you have always been a fan of mine with 60 Days In, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of my life and being a part of my story and walking with me on this journey, because really it has just begun. And I want you to stay close to me, because if you enjoyed my story and if you watched and felt any kind of my pain, believe me, I'm not a crybaby like they showed me. I'm actually a pretty strong person. Although I have gone through so much, I've been down at my lowest of low. And this has touched my heart in a way that I've never, ever expected to be touched. It's made me become a person that I've never expected. It's made me have anxieties I've never known I'd have. It's made me have a voice to speak for the lost and for those families that have been forgotten. I thank you. I just want to thank you for those of you who are just my fans. Thank you so much. Please stay with me, because I'm going to continue this journey. I'm going to continue to talk, and I will not be quiet until society begins to change. And I need the warriors to come with me, to wake up, to stand up, and to become a part of the army of change, the army of the mindset shift. Mindset shift. Lord, that's a tongue tire. I might have to say something different, but it works. It really works. So once again, bookmonalisa.com. Share that with me. Share that with you. Share that with all the people. And bit.ly/shiftmymind to become a part of our private and intimate sessions. Okay.